partner Carlos Reyes with us today. I'm excited for you to be with us. Again, I've got Carlos here. Super excited about having my good friend here with us. Carlos, man, how you doing, my friend?
Amazing, brother. It's 9:06 here in Arizona. It's a shiny, beautiful, windy day. I
Come on.
couldn't ask for anything better, brother.
I love it, man. Hey, take a minute real quick and talk to our audience. Tell them a little about who you are. Well, obviously, you're in Arizona, and a little bit about what you do.
Okay. Well, I wish we had a lot of time to really break down, where I come from and how I grew up, but I'll keep it very simple. I am an immigrant who became a naturalized citizen of this country, right? Greatest country on earth. I know that everybody has different opinions, totally understand that. I am empathetic for, those opinions, but I've lived in another country and I was born in another country. And I can tell you this, this is at least presently, the greatest country on earth. So with that being said, I was born into extreme poverty in Mexico, where you're talking dirt roads and dirt floors inside of the, inside of the houses that we live in, right? You're talking washboards in the back, and you're talking outhouses, and you're talking, taking showers out of a bucket, right? So a lot of folks don't understand how blessed they are in this country. I do, because I lived somewhere else. So not too long ago, in the late 90s, my mother brought me over here illegally. I jumped the fence. As I believe, 9 or 10 year old. My mom paid a guy $25 to get me through a fence, and came up here to Phoenix, Arizona. We started the paperwork process of getting me legalized and becoming a citizen of this great nation. Single mom, doesn't speak English to this day. I retired her in 2017. She doesn't have to work. She doesn't have to worry about even a simple phone bill, right? She is retired. And she didn't retire because of the government. She retired, thank God, because of her sacrifices, her hard work, her giving me an opportunity as a single mother, and me being able to flourish in the entrepreneur space. So I worked a 9 to 5 job for, I believe, 14 years. And don't get me wrong, I was an entrepreneur for a very long time. And, you have to trust the process. Little did I know everything that I was learning in corporate America, I would be applying it to my own businesses. I have 25 plus businesses now. And I know you and I were talking about the way that I was able to automate and delegate a lot of those businesses, right? It's 909. There are people in my organization working right now. As I'm sitting here at home, my businesses are currently active right now. 9 in the morning, my business is open. So, and some of them never shut off, by the way. But that's why you have to trust the process. I hit a ceiling in corporate America. I was a victim, and I hate using that word because but I was victimized when it comes down to corporate politics, right? Which is the best thing to ever happen to me. I was working 4 years towards a certain position that was going to get me well over 6 figures a year. And I was the number one runner up. I trained for this position for 4 years. Well, the guy decided to give it to his best friend, who was nowhere near in sight of, that quality of a person, not a person, but of a manager or, employee. So I became really depressed for a few weeks. They actually gave me a leave of absence for 2 weeks because of how devastated I was when I did not get the position, right? This is literally in corporate America. They told me that the following: hey, Carlos, this is your position. You've been traveling. You've been the ultimate yes man. We've sent you to Seattle, California, Texas, anywhere in Arizona, whatever, right? Well, you're up for this position, but we have to do what's fair and give everybody a shot, right? Give other. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm the only guy that's been working for this position, so whatever. Yeah, if you gotta make it look like it's a fair shot, sure, go ahead, right? Well, they did, and then when I didn't get the position, man, it's like imagine working for a company for 14 years, and 4 of those years you're literally training for this position and leaving your family during Christmases and Thanksgivings and birthdays, right? Working 70 hours a week for corporate America. Yes, man, yes, man, yes, man. And when it comes time to pay the piper, They literally pulled the rug from under you. Well, my world was flipped upside down, brother. You know, my world was flipped upside down, and I became, for the first time in my life, man, I became depressed. You know, now keep in mind, going through all these trials and tribulations as in poverty, right? My mother, myself, my brother, and my sister at one point lived under a tree in California over a weekend because we got kicked out on a Friday and we were able to lease an apartment until Monday. So we literally had our couches and things under a tree, right? So all that stuff never depressed me. You know, for some reason, this depressed me, but man, oh man, it lit a fire under me like it's never been lit before, right? And unfortunately, we as human beings, sometimes the only way that change happens is when the pain, we talked about this the other way, when the pain is strong enough, when the pain is far more to bear than the pain of changing, you know, that's when it happens. I said, you know what? I'm depressed. I'm in the gutter right now, mentally and spiritually. I'm broken, but man, I came back I rose from the ashes like a phoenix. As soon as those 2 weeks were up, I said, you know what? Hey guys, hey, I'm taking a demotion. What? Right? Yeah, I can no longer work 70 hours. I'm not working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. anymore, Monday through Saturday. I'm going to work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. But why? What's going on? Well, you know, what's going on? I mean, you know, you just kind of screwed me out of a position that I was working for 4 years of my life. I didn't spend time with my little girl and my family, etc. And now I'm going to be 100% with you guys, 100% transparent. So I said, I'm going to start building a business outside of this business. They didn't like that too much, but I was so good at what I did that they had no choice. I gave them a choice. I was very transparent. I wasn't trying to be shady or unethical in any way. I said, I'm going to work from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'm going to give you all I got. And from 3 p.m. to whatever, 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., I'm going to start building my empire. I'm going to start working on leaving this job.
I love that.
They had no choice, brother, but to accept it because I was that good at that time. Yeah. You know, I mean, when you work somewhere for 14 years, you know the business inside out, right? At that point, brother, they were paying me $70,000 a year, 4-week vacation, IRA, 401k, insurance, you know, everything you can think of, all the carrots, right? All the bells and whistles, all the bribery to get me to stay there, you know, and not work on my own dreams, right? Because that's what happens. You know, people bribe you, they pay for your time so you can continue to help them build their dream, and you can just leave your ideal outcome in life and your dreams, you can just leave them in the back burner. And at that point, it may never happen because the bribe makes you so comfortable, right? So that's what happened. I gave them an ultimatum, and I kept working there for the next 12 months. I said, I am going to make it a goal to leave this job that I've been working at for, you know, since I was a 17-year-old kid. I'm going to make it a goal to leave this job on my birthday. And sure thing, brother, I was able to leave that job on my birthday.
Let me ask you a question, Carlos. Dude, number one, dude, I love you, man. I love your freaking heart, man. From the first
time, brother, I love you, man. Thank you.
A couple months ago, man, there are very few guys I get to connect with where, dude, it's the same daggum DNA, man. We spent 48 minutes on the phone together Saturday morning talking.
It felt like 5.
It just talking through and being able to lean on you and ask you questions and dream and talk about all this stuff. I want to go back. What values did you learn? That's the first time I heard the story about you guys being under the tree. I hadn't heard that before.
Oh, brother, there's so many things that I've been leaving out, and I'm slowly starting to release them, right? Because my past was so traumatic that I defensively, it was like a defense mechanism for my brain. It's like, hey, we're not going to think about that. Yeah. We're not going to worry about that. There's no time. There'll be time in the future. But right now, I cannot allow those thoughts, right, and those emotions to keep me, right, to build resistance of what I'm trying to do with my life. So I selectively stop thinking about my traumatic past. You know, there's so much that, brother, as our relationship continues to flourish, you'll get to learn how, I definitely swung completely on the other side. I was born into it.
Yeah.
And that's why I have all this momentum coming to this side, because, I was so on the opposite end that, it's taking a complete swing
Yeah.
on this end, which I'm very
Let me,
grateful.
let me ask you a question. I want to talk about your mom for a minute, because every time I talk to you, it always circles back to your mom. What are some of the key values that you learned from your mom that have helped you become the unbelievable success that you are today?
Brother, that is a great question. You know what's crazy? That's the first time that somebody's ever asked me that. Right? I've done hundreds of podcasts. I've done hundreds of appearances in different places. I've done live events, and that's the first time that somebody actually says, right? What did you learn from your mom? So, as children, I feel that if you have two parents, you get to learn from both sides, right? You get to learn from both sides. You take and the ideal situation is, I'll give you an example. I have two daughters. I have a 7-year-old and I have a 2-year-old. I hope that they take everything good from me and everything good from mom, right? Their mom, and nothing bad, right? And then kind of just take all our good stuff and they build their own personality, right? That's what happens. That's when we become adults. We're like, okay, hey, I learned this from mom. I learned this from dad. Well, I'm going to make a decision to be this person. I just found myself. I found my personality. So when it came to my mother, she was a single mother. Imagine watching a woman that sacrificed her life, that was working out in the fruit fields at 120-degree weather. You know what that does to you as a man, as a son, right? You're like, if my mother can do it, she's my superhero,
Come on.
right? My mom's work ethic is paving the way for me. I learned my work ethic from her. I learned my no give up mentality from her. She never, brother, I don't know how she did it, but she just made miracles happen after miracles. And her faith in God is probably the most faithful person, the strongest person in their faith that I've ever met. Like, she just always knew that God was going to provide, right? And me watching this woman that doesn't speak English, working 2 to 3 jobs at times, two for sure, three whenever it was possible. Just watching this woman work her butt off, man, where she would only sleep like 2 to 4 hours, max, right? You're talking working at the airport as a chef at nighttime. Once she like gradually got out of the fruit fields, right? She started working like preparing food for airplanes, right? It's called LSG Sky Chefs. So she was working there for like 8.25 an hour, I believe, which wasn't a lot, but still, she was doing that at nighttime. And then she was working, preparing food in the cafeteria for an elementary school in the morning. So I'm sitting here as a teenager, right? As a teenager, just watching her and, like, wow, my mom is a workhorse. Well, guess where I get my work ethic? Because daddy wasn't around, right? Daddy wasn't around. So I got my work ethic from her. I got my no give up mentality from her. And you know what? One of the most important things, and I want all parents to understand this, even though we faced the biggest odds, even though, life threw everything, even the kitchen sink at us, my mom never once told me, you can't do something.
I was going to ask you, Carlos. I was going to ask you, what are some of the things you remember growing up through those times? What are some of the things you remember your mom saying to you that
Honestly,
yeah,
encouragement. I would say things like, I would say, support, encouragement. I would say things like, mom, one day, I'm going to be a successful businessman, as a little kid. And she'd be like, son, yes, you are. You're going to accomplish everything that you want, and she's like, you just got to work hard and stick to it. I'm like, mom, one day I'm going to retire you. Son, yes, you are. Like, she never said like, no, son, that's not the way it works. We were born into this, this poverty or social status. She never said that. If anything, she told me that I was an eagle and that I was going to get to the mountaintop.
I,
It's
I
like,
love
son,
I love the way you talk about your mom's faith. Scripture says the power of life and death is in the tongue.
oh
Literally,
God,
we have the ability to be able to speak life. And when you say that, that's exactly what comes to my mind is, as parents, the ability we have to be able to speak life over, and not only over, but into our children.
Real quick, before you say that, one of
Yeah.
my mom's favorite scriptures is Joshua 1:9, right? So Joshua, that's my brother's middle name because
Yeah.
Joshua was kind of a leader and a warrior, right? So Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how she lived her life. And that's how she's still living her life. I'm taking her to Hawaii for the first time, July 2nd to the 10th. And she is
When are we leaving?
very,
When
excuse
are
me?
we leaving? When are we leaving?
When are we leaving?
What day are we flying out?
Yeah, we need to get the hell out of this country for a little bit, right? Just
Yeah.
for a little bit. There's a lot of madness going on, but I hope that this all plays out. And it's election year. Stuff's going to happen, so we'll see what happens.
Hey, talk to me real quick, Carlos. The first time you told your mom, I'm going to retire you. And I've asked you this before. I think I did this on a virtual summit. What was that feeling like for you when you were able to go, hey, mom, here's keys to your home. Hey, mom, here's the keys to your car. Talk to me about that day. Like all the hard work under a freaking tree with your sofa, all the rejection, the 2 weeks of depression. I'm going to give you 40 hours. I'm going to go do my own thing. And here you are. Yeah, goosebumps, bro. Here you are handing your mom those keys. Talk to me about that.
I've never said this publicly, but I'll say it today because I'm going to start saying it. My mom, when we got a little older, in 2005, she fell to an addiction, and she smoked glass from 2005 to 2017. I don't know if life just finally really hit her, right? Once we were all like, once I can fend for myself and my brother and my sister can fend for themselves, it's kind of like she was like, okay, my work's done. And then she got addicted to smoking glass. And from 2005 to 2017, she was a drug addict. And you know what's crazy, and I'll tell you the way this went down. She was addicted, and she broke my heart, because that was my superhero, and she still is.
Yeah.
But she ripped me inside out, and I would cry. I would cry with not anger, but almost like disappointment. Telling her this is not the way. You've come too far to be doing this, brother. When she made a decision in March of 2017, she put the pipe down. Right? She herself, without me saying anything, she checked herself into a rehabilitation church, right? A Christian church, which is crazy. She taught us the word of God, right? Most of our lives. She checked herself in, and I asked her, watch this. I used to always tell her when she was, because I had I got my entrepreneurship thing going in like 2015, right? And I said, mom, if you just change, mom, if you just, if you just give all this up, mom, I promise you, you're going to have everything you ever need. I'm going to take care of you. Right. I'm telling her that for 2 straight years. In 2017, I asked her, why did you give up? Why did you give up drugs? And she said that, hey, I worked really hard to provide an opportunity for you guys. And I saw you working so hard that I said to myself, wow, look at my son. Look how hard he works. Look how successful he's becoming. And I'm over here doing this, right? So my entrepreneurship journey, brothers, saved her life.
I love it, dude.
Saved her life. So watch this. March 2017, she checks herself in, and she is out of there. March, April, May, June. I retired her in June. I gave her everything. As soon as she got out, bought her a car, got her house. I take care of, her insurance. I take care of her phone bill. I take care of everything. I am a man of my word. And when she did what she needed to do and took care of her part, then I took care of my part. So I'm so blessed.
Let me say this to you real quick, Carlos. I think I love what you said real quick. And I think probably part of your mom's journey to freedom was she saw in you herself. she saw that, because I tell people this all the time. Listen, when we do stuff wrong, when we sin, when we do things we shouldn't do, it doesn't prove that we're bad. It just proves that we're human.
We're
Like,
human.
what? We're just gonna make mistakes. It's just who we are.
Yeah.
But I think what happened in your mom is she saw herself, and she saw herself in you, and she saw the drive. And you said the work ethic, the never quit attitude. She made miracles happen every single day. She just kept doing that. She saw that in you, and it probably brought her back to the reality of who her true self was.
Absolutely.
And she was able to go. Oh, and like you said, like she did it on her own. She just said, you know what? I'm done with this. Let me go in. Let me get checked in. Let me come out.
Amazing.
So talk to me about that summer of 2017 when you hand her those keys and this is yours.
We definitely had our moment. We had our moment. Imagine for me, 12 years. Actually, no, 2005. Yeah, 2005 to 2017. What is that? I mean,
What?
let's just 12 years, right? So imagine going through 12 years of having a void in your heart, right? Because my heart was always complete, no matter how poor we were. As long as we had each other, my heart was always complete. So imagine going through 12 years of just heartaches, right? Every single night that I laid down, I'm wondering if my mom is okay.
Right.
Is she safe? Right? What is she doing? Who is she with? Right? And imagine all that build up, and then we finally get to the finish line. We get to the finish line. We had moments, man. We had some moments. We had some moments of what life is really about, which is truth. We had some moments, and our relationship is stronger than ever. I had a 53-minute conversation with her not too long ago. I've never had a 53-minute conversation with her on the phone, right? Had a 53-minute conversation with her, and she's so behind me, brother. She's so proud of me, and I'm so proud of her, right? She recently had me sign, because I just wrote a book.
Let's talk
Right?
about that, man.
Just wrote a book. This is the number one new seller when it comes to buying and selling homes. When it comes to flipping houses on Amazon, it's already sold near 7,000 units in a month.
Yeah.
So when this thing sells 10,000 units, man, we're going to beef this thing up, give it a hard copy, and we're going to take it to New York, baby. So, right. So now she comes by here all the time, and I pull out my marker and I sign. She's like, I'm going to send your Uncle Victor in Chicago a book. I'm going to send your cousin in LA a book. So she comes, she is so happy and proud, brother, and I'm so grateful for that. So,
Hey, let's talk a little bit about business. Obviously, dude, this has been a phenomenal. I didn't know it necessarily was going to go this way, but let's talk a little bit about business and talk a little bit about your success. And one of the things that I love about you is just your availability. And I told somebody this yesterday when we scheduled this last minute with you because we had somebody had to schedule a conflict today. And I hadn't even told you this. You don't even know this. I hadn't even told you this. I told my team this yesterday. I hopped on one of your Instagram lives probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I remember that.
And you were with a young black guy from Detroit who was talking about wanting to flip homes. And you're like, dude, I'm going to DM you my number. I'm going to help you do this. And you stayed on that call with that kid for probably 40 to 45 minutes. And I was literally watching that day and I was like, I thought you were the real deal. But bro, when I saw that day, I thought, man, this cat really is the real deal. Like he's driving around in a Rolls. He's driving around. He's doing all this stuff. He's speaking on stages. But what people don't see behind the curtain is when I saw you spend 45 minutes with that guy and you literally were pouring your heart out to this guy on, you can do it. I will help you, whatever it takes. Don't quit. Work ethic. All of those things that you talked about, you learned values from your mom and values you've instilled in your business and been successful. When I saw that day behind the scene, I thought, man, this is a guy that I want to know this guy. Like I want to connect with this guy, and I want to be able to help you get that side of you to where people see that part. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I am them, right? I am them. And now I am here for them, and who is them? Them is everybody that's still living in fear. Them is everybody who has been through or is going through what I've been through. I am them. So I want to shine as much light as I can and penetrate as many minds and hearts as I can for the rest of my life. While God gives me life, right? While my soul is still on this earth, I want to be able to impact and touch as many lives as I can. And the reason why I feel that I can do this is because the Lord has given me this purpose, right? This isn't something that I chose.
Right.
I believe that he put me through all that so I can reach them. People just like that young man that is going through the ringer, right? He's going through the ringer. And, I'm here for them. I'm no longer here for just me. I'm no longer here for just my daughters. I am here for them.
I love it, dude. Hey, talk to me real quick about what's next for Carlos Reyes. Like what's in your heart dream? And obviously,
Brother, my goal,
hardback, those kind of things. What are you dreaming?
We're working on so many projects right now. The beautiful thing about us is we cut our teeth in real estate, right? That's where we cut our teeth. But as you well know, we're serial entrepreneurs, brother. We have solar company, digital marketing agency, medicalsurplus.com.
Every time I get off the phone with you, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I mean, every time I get off the phone, I'm like, I got to step my game up, man. What am I doing? I got to step my game up.
That's good. You know why? Because that desire turns into manifestation, right? So you're doing it the right way. You're not sitting there, with that attitude, that mindset of, oh man, you're not getting down on yourself. You're actually picking yourself out and say, hey man, I got to go get this done, right? So aside from, we're coming out with even more businesses now, right? We're coming out with more businesses. We're coming out with it's a project called Prospect X that does everything you can think of. You can build sites inside of it. We're becoming a very high level tech company, right? Don't get me wrong. Fixing and flipping houses is absolutely phenomenal right now for us. We were talking a little bit about that the other day, right? Paint and carpet back on the market, baby, right?
Yep.
And all our departments in our different organization, not our company, because if I say company, it's like, okay, which company, right? We have an organization and we have an army that is taking care of a lot of that organization, while Sal, my business partner, is doing, the engineering and the integration and the systems building. And I'm over here pushing the cause, right? I'm pushing it over here and I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, try to change and impact as many lives as I can. That's the goal. The goal for Carlos Reyes is to be omnipresent. The goal for Carlos Reyes is if he's omnipresent, then that means he can touch more lives, right? If I'm omnipresent and I'm in front of more people, then that means I can impact more lives. That's the goal. The goal is for me to just get a lot of people out of darkness. Brother, someone said this the other day to me. One of my really good friends that I grew up with, his father just passed. I went and visited my old neighborhood, right, where I grew up at, and his father just passed. And, his father just passed, pancreatic cancer, age 68, 69. God bless him. His name is Guillermo. I said, he's like, brother, I've always wanted to start my own business. I'm like, okay, brother, what's going on? What's keeping you from, what are the obstacles? He's like, my biggest obstacle is I am fearful of what others are going to think about me and say about me. I was like, wait, what? I couldn't believe it. I could not believe. I've heard of, I fear of not being comfortable. I fear of losing. I fear of failing, etc. I have not heard of that in a very long time. I didn't know that was a thing, that a person is fearful of what other people that have absolutely no relevancy, right? That are not paying this man's bills, that are not providing for this man's family, that haven't had the courage themselves to step out, right? Step out of that cage and build their own business. He is fearful of those people's opinions.
Yeah.
I could not believe this. Think about that for a second. I am not giving myself a shot at financial freedom because I'm afraid of what other people are going to say. I am not giving myself a shot at creating a legacy because I'm afraid of what other people that absolutely don't matter are going to say about me. So that was a shocker. And then I started pouring into them that same night. And that's my goal, brother, is to be omnipresent and impact as many lives as I can around the world.
I love it. I love it. Talk to me real quick. As an immigrant, I heard you say this earlier. You talked about, I loved you interviewed with David Meltzer the other day. I had David on last week. Phenomenal interview. Just really connected as well. Love his heart to the consistent, persistent pursuit of helping people become happy. 1 billion people. That's his goal right now, which is insane. It's funny because David said this the other day on our interview last week. He said, it's funny when I would tell people that my goal was to make $1 billion and nobody doubted it. But when I told people I wanted to help 1 billion people be happy, people went, oh, there's no way you can do that. And I was like, there you go, right there, my friend. Yep.
This book right here is the epitome, right? It's the living example of the more people you help, the more lives you transform, right? The higher you climb. The more people you help, the more lives you transform. God has his way of taking care of you.
Yes, he does.
So, right. I've said this a few times. I said, listen, I don't just want to be a millionaire, right? I'm already a millionaire. And it's like, okay, what's next? Right. That got old to me. I would say when I started making 6 figures a month, right? I haven't had a month where I made less than $110,000 since July of 2016 to my pocket after everything is paid. All the businesses are taken care of. All the bills are paid. All the people are paid, right? I haven't had a month where I made less than $110,000 that goes into my pocket, right? You have to keep in mind the old job that I worked for 14 years, I was getting paid $70,000 a year,
right.
a year, right?
They were taking 70 hours a week.
70 hours a week, right? So, that gets old quick. So that's a matter of, okay, what's next? How am I going to continue to grow? How am I going to continue to fulfill myself? I don't want to be the kind of millionaire that just is like all about the money, makes millions of dollars, whatever. I want to be a new kind of millionaire, a millionaire that changes 1 million lives.
Mm.
See, that we haven't seen a lot of. There are few that are willing to make the sacrifices and spend the time and energy into changing 1 million lives. Very few in the world right now, but I'm okay. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And that's the difference between some people and other people.
Yeah, I love that. And that was part of our conversation Saturday. We spent almost an hour on the phone together, was just that heart, your heart to be able to help people. We've got some big things coming together that we're gonna work together, some live events that we're gonna do. Super excited about that. Dude, bro, if I could bro hug you right now, I would, if you weren't all the way on the other side of the country.
God willing, very soon we'll be able to actually hang out in person.
Yeah, dude, I love your heart, man. I'm extremely grateful for your friendship. Like I said, every time I talk to you, I get off the phone and going, dude, I got to go harder. Like I got to dream bigger. I've got to go harder. And there's very few guys I get around that do that.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yes, it does. We talked about that. Proverbs
27:17. Iron sharpens iron. So does one man sharpen another. Right. And you're sharpening me. When you are continuing to help me, get my message out there, I can only do the same for you in return, because I know that you have a servant heart. I know what you're about. I've heard you. And remember I told you, I said, hey brother, I'm very impressed. You really do have a servant heart. And it's very rare these days. You know what I mean? So many people at the top of the totem pole, at the top of the food chain in the entrepreneur space have disappointed me. Because why? I'm not going to say names, but I'll speak on a stage and that next person will get 75,000 or 100,000 to show up and speak on a stage. And you can clearly tell, right? Energy wise, I can tell the guy's here just for the money. He's not here because he loves people. He's not here because he wants to change people's lives. He's here because he's here for a paycheck, right? We need to change that. Yeah, we need to change that. That needs reform.
I agree. And so that's something that, you, David Meltzer, Tim Story, Michael Burt, Greg Reed, some guys that, man, I've just really gotten close with over the past.
Imagine if you put all those people in one room, right?
Don't give our secret away.
Okay.
Don't give our secret away. I'll be in San Francisco in a couple of weeks. I'm spending a day with Anthony Trucks as well. I know that Anthony's another guy that I think that is up there, and I think legit got a shot in the next 5 years to be probably one of the top guys on the whole planet.
Amazing.
Legit, I think he's got a shot. He's got the energy, he's got the background, he's got the story, he's got the passion to help people.
Mm.
And that's dude, that's what I love that guy. It's the same, dude, the same.
You can't teach that, bro. That's something like you're kind of born with, you know what I mean?
Well,
Right?
and I think the thing is, and this is one thing you and I talked about the other day. I think the thing is you can get a group of guys who have that same DNA. And it's that Proverbs 27:17, where you're constantly sharpening one another and you're reminding one another, hey, this is what we're in this for. This is
Yep.
what we're going for. This is the goal. This is the prize. When you said, I want to be a new kind of millionaire, I want to be a new kind of millionaire. I want to help 1 million people become millionaires. I want to help people do what I've done. You said I'm one of them.
I'm one of them.
Hey, can I just say something to you? That needs to be your next book. I'm one of them.
Wow.
Come on, man. I'm one of them.
I love that.
Yes, sir. And
I love that.
and stories, because all you're going to do now, right now, and your team, Carlos, needs to be compiling stories of people who have come in your life, who you literally have helped flip the script, who have said, I don't believe in myself. I tell people all the time, listen, if you don't have enough passion, borrow some of mine. If you don't have enough courage, borrow some of mine. If you don't have enough belief in yourself, let me speak into your life enough to where you can borrow some of mine until you get enough momentum to where you're going on your own. And then you just pay that forward into somebody else's life. But dude,
Brother, that happens a lot through mentorship.
that's what it is. And again, we've been on for 40 minutes already. But one of the things we talked about Saturday was, I said, Carlos, how do you have 20 companies? How are you hiring people and raising them up? And you just talked about your whole process of mentorship and how that you are extremely gifted. Obviously, you have to be, or you couldn't do. Well, you just don't go to a recruiting firm and recruit people to run X amount of businesses that have the same DNA, the same culture, the same core values. It really is. John Maxwell says, you reproduce who you are, not what you know. And what you've done is you spent 5, 6 years reproducing.
Brother, I love to hire people that care.
Yeah.
Right. Yesterday, a young lady, she works in our real estate investment company, and she's a disposition manager for the wholesale side, right? Not for the fix and flip side. And she's amazing, right? She's amazing. She kind of came almost crying to us. And she said, hey, I want more. I care. I said, we hugged her. We're like, this is who we're building around, is people that care just as much as we do.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, brother. People that have ownership and care just as much as you do. They have that same vision to drive the company and use it to entire potential, right? To reach the maximum. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. I'll leave by saying this. When people talk about trusting the process, right? Trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. Well, little did I know that when I was working 14 years in corporate America, learning how to hire, learning how to train, learning how to develop, learning how to put schedules together, right? Learning how to run a business. Little did I know that I was going to use those 14 years of my craft into implementing all that into my own businesses. Little did I know. At that point, I didn't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. And at that point, I didn't have the vision. I wasn't the visionary I am now, where I was thinking on a macro level, right? The bigger picture. I was just like day to day. Oh, today I'm learning how to hire this person. Okay, today I'm learning how to train this person, right? Today I'm learning how to promote and bring this person up, develop this person. Well, I do all that now in my organization, right? So glory to God for that, for putting me through that, to learn that, because that's something that college will not teach you. I had to learn that doing what I did. So when people talk about trusting the process, now I understand, right? Now I understand. So
not only do you understand, Carlos, but you're able to then impart that into the people that work for you from your story and your experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every single leader in my organization, they care. They care. And we just had our it's called our leadership meeting yesterday. We literally had our leadership meeting, yesterday. Every Monday we try to have our leadership meeting. We also have obviously we call it money Mondays. It's with the real estate side, right? Our company meeting, etc. Monday morning meetings it's called. But we had our leadership meeting, and you can tell everybody's ready. They're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Right. They're ready to roll. And that's what we need. You have to water your grass,
Yes.
right? You have to water your grass. You have to let people know, I care. I'm glad you do too. Right. So if they see, because leadership, it's literally you're leading from the front, and you're leading by example every single day. Right. So if they see what you're doing, if they hear what you're saying, well, guess what? They have no other choice but to do the same.
That's exactly right. Made miracles happen. Work ethic, never quit. It went from your mom to you to your team.
Absolutely.
That's literally what's happened.
Yes,
Bro, I
sir.
love you, man.
Love
I,
you
love,
too.
I literally can sit here and talk to you all day long, man.
Yeah. Same here, man. Just we're one. You're like a brother from another mother. So I love the synergy that you and I have, man. And we got so many amazing things. We have so many people to serve. Most importantly, we have so many people to serve. That's the goal. You know what I mean?
I love it, man. Hey guys, thanks for being a part of today's Grow Stack Drive Weekday Live. Carlos, thank you again for being a part today. Super excited, man. Super excited about the future. Super excited about your future, your heart, dude, what you do, and who you are, my friend.
Brother, let's keep this going. Let's keep serving. God bless you.
See you, buddy.